was Mr. Flesh given the opportunity to meet with you regarding the notice of intent to terminate, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk to the board, you know, sometimes it's called a last chance meeting. Can you talk to the board about, explain to the board what you consider during these meetings with these individual employees that come before you have been disciplined?
When I bring these people in, and the majority of the people do come to see me, I look at what they did. I look at their past history. I look at the remorse involved. I look at what kind of impact did it have on the agency, and quite frequently, I mean, a lot of them have an impact on the agency, but how much impact it had on the agency. So I look at all of that when I talk to them.
Okay. And did you have one of these last, I think Mr. Blitz has called it a termination hearing. It's really the decision to, it's really a meeting, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was at that meeting you had with Deputy Flesh, Sheriff, if you can recall?
I know Chief Deputy Lee was, of course, myself, Deputy Flesh was there. I believe, no, you weren't. Anyway, somebody from Internal Affairs was there.
Possibly the same guy.
And I believe it may have been, and I believe that Major Jones was there.
Okay. Is it unusual for Major Jones to be there?
No, ma'am. Usually I call in the major that's involved in that unit, always call in Internal Affairs, and my Chief Deputy and I always in there.
Very good. What can you recall about that last chance meeting? What did Deputy Flesh tell you during that meeting, sir?
Well, he tried to tell me that it was created by post-traumatic stress.
Had you ever heard that he had suffered that affliction before?
That's the first time I'd ever heard it.
And that this last chance meeting, would you disagree that it occurred on February 17th, 2011? Is that correct, roughly?
That date, I don't know, somewhere there.
So prior to December 5th, 2010, the date of these acts that he engaged in, had you ever heard that he had suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What was your reaction to hearing that, Sheriff?
Well, I had read his file extensively, as I always do. When I terminate somebody or take serious disciplinary action, I request their file, and I sit down and go through the whole file. I read it almost page to page to see what's in it. I look at their evaluations. I look at their past. I look at their history from the time when we did the background checks on them. And I had found in this file trouble from the time he was in high school on, Lane Aluden from Fort Orange Police Department. I found where he had been in a house party involving alcohol. I'd seen where he had been in several incidents when he was in the Marine Corps involving disciplinary actions and alcohol. And to be perfectly honest with you, when he told me he was suffering from post-traumatic stress, I told him, look to me like he had that right out of high school.
Sheriff, if Deputy Flesh had told you prior to December 5th, 2010 that he had suffered post-traumatic stress disorder prior to this day and these crimes, what would you have done, sir?
Objection, calls for speculation.
I'm sorry, would you repeat the question?
Sure. Sheriff, if you were aware that Deputy Flesh had post-traumatic stress disorder prior to December 5th, 2010, what would you do?
Objection, calls for speculation.
I don't mind hearing a brief answer on this.
Sure, thank you. Go ahead, Sheriff.
We've gotten help. We have, through the county, EAP. We have also actually, in times when people are suffering bad, we've actually called in a psychologist from South Florida that deals with law enforcement quite a bit. Anytime you have an employee, you want to take and do anything in your power to take and try to save them if you can. And if he comes to us in advance and says, I have this issue, we have worked with him and done whatever we could. It might have entailed having to take him off the road, but we've got other places we could have put him in the meantime to help get him under control. But at that time, he had not done any criminal offenses, and we would have done whatever we could to help Deputy Flesh out. We would have gone above and beyond because it's the right thing to do, and it's basically how the county has always worked with me since I've been the sheriff.
Sheriff, then, given all of those things and those avenues that were available to Deputy Flesh, did you consider that when he came to your last chance meeting, did you think about that? Was that a consideration when you considered all those factors and still decided to terminate him?
When I have the last chance meeting, normally I have not made a determination. Well, I have put it on paper. Let me back up. I have made a determination. I've had quite a few last chances that we have taken because of what was said and how they handled it, that I've gone a different route instead of determination, that I have changed what I did with it. But when he came in there, and then what he said was blaming it from that point forward, when I had seen in his past that this was a continuing pattern of behavior throughout his teenage years up till now, that had surfaced on several different occasions. It did not change my thoughts on it.
Sheriff, you've mentioned these problems in his past, and I think the board would like to hear from you. You had this knowledge of Deputy Flesh's past problems prior to hiring him, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you explain to the board why you made the decision to hire him in light of those problems?
Well, I had two officers that I trust very much came to see me and recommended him. Sergeant Brian Henderson and his brother Mitch Henderson, who both knew Scott. And they said that Scott had a very, basically, I'm paraphrasing, a very checkered past. But they said he had straightened up and that they felt like he deserved a chance to prove himself. I can't blame him about himself. I went with that on it, hoping that maybe they have, and I try to take one possible to give people second chances in the agency, or if we have a chance out there. And I did give him that chance. And I will say that's my better judgment.
So Sheriff, is it fair to say that he blew his chance with you, is that fair?
Yes, he did, because when this happened, he showed past performance was once again surfacing on present performance.
Sheriff, do you do you still believe that termination was the appropriate discipline given in this case?
Absolutely.
And please, and just summarize for the board why you feel that way today, sir.
I strongly believe that if given another chance, it will happen again. And it could be a great expense to the county of Volusia, great embarrassment to the county of Volusia, and a black eye to the county of Volusia.
Thank you, Sheriff. Your witness, Mr. Bush.
Thank you. Good evening, Sheriff. I understand you have an engagement soon. What time do you have to leave, sir?
Well, I believe I can make it.
Okay. All right. Now, thankfully, examination by Ms. Jolly helped eliminate some of my questions. Sir, at the time of this December 5th, 2010 arrest, Deputy Flesh was regarded as a good deputy, wasn't he?
Yes.
No concerns about his performance. In fact, approximately 2 years after he was hired, he was placed on the Volusia County SWAT team, correct?
Yes, he was.
And that's considered a plum assignment, is it not?
Absolutely.
And this may be a little cliche, but would it be fair to say that the SWAT team is a place where the best of the best go?
I'll tell you, it is a very plum assignment. And you have, that would be fair to say. I mean, you have several different specialized assignments
Okay.
that the best of the best go.
And so at least above 2008, Mr. Flesh was performing so admirably in his service to the Sheriff's Department that he was awarded the position on the SWAT team.
Yes, he was.
Now, were you involved in that decision, sir?
No.
Okay, would that have been Major Jones?
It's the SWAT, excuse me.
Of course.
He usually comes to the SWAT team, the SWAT commander. Major Jones does have input into it, but it's usually the SWAT commander that does the ticket.
Do you have veto power, essentially, when it comes to those decisions?
I absolutely have veto power, but usually I don't even know who's going on.
But you didn't exercise your veto power regarding Mr. Flesh, because I remember his wife.
Like I said, I didn't even know who's going on.
Okay. After you did learn during his employment that he was on the SWAT team, yes?
Yes, sir.
And nothing about his past or his history, the arrests that occurred in the 90s, none of those things led you to consider removing Mr. Flesh from the SWAT team because of his instances, correct? Okay. Now, I want to, real quickly, if I can, go through some aspects of Mr. Flesh's personnel file that I think are relevant. Now, during the course of your indirect supervision of Deputy Flesh, you had occasion to give Deputy Flesh accolades regarding his job performance. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, and I couldn't tell you what they were, but.
Okay. Let me sort of go down memory lane here with you real quickly, if I can. Again, we'll try to make this as quick and painless as possible. Let me have this marked as exhibits. Let's just exhibit 3, please. 4. I always get that wrong. 4. Law school did not involve in that.
That's okay. These two. Thank you.
Sir, I show you it's been marked as exhibit 4 to your deposition. Can you take a look at this real quick and tell me if you recognize it?
Yes, sir.
And this is a letter from you to Ms. Mojitas regarding some good conduct on the part of not only Deputy Flesh, but also Deputy Stickles regarding their handling of a situation involving an ill family member of Ms. Mojitas, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this was brought on by a letter she had written to you commending Deputy Flesh and Deputy Stickles for their assistance, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so on this occasion, May 24th,